So yeah, as Steve said, I'm Justin Baroun. I was the Maple Marketing Intern in 2018. I graduated from UW Oshkosh in winter of 2019 with a degree in digital marketing and marketing analytics. I had, besides my Maple Marketing internship, I also was an internship or had an internship with Target Sports Center where I did like website design and stuff like that. And currently I am a project manager for Kia's Outlet in Oshkosh. And so basically I'm going to give you kind of a rundown of website design. So, I already introduced myself, but I'm just going to go over a few terms first off for website design. First off, domain. That's basically the name of your website, and we'll get more into these terms later on.
So also title is what shows up on search engines. So like Google or Bing, it's basically the name that shows up when someone searches for something. Next term, SEO, is the process of optimizing your online content so that a search engine likes to show it as basically it helps with like how high up you're going to show up when someone searches for something related to your name. And then the last thing is keywords. So keywords are basically the words that are associated with like the contents of your website and like what people use when they're searching for your website on search engines. So first off, I'm just going to go through a few recommended sites. Out of the recommended sites that I've used Wix and WordPress. So Wix is basically a site where it's probably the most simple site to use. It assists with SEO. It's pretty affordable for the price, and it also has a wide variety of templates you can use when using Wix. Also, there's Squarespace. The basic price for that is $12 a month, and then it's better for like branding and advertising your business and also with like building your social media presence. And then it also has more professional templates, and also it's not as easy to use as Wix in my mind. Wix is a pretty easy, simple site to use, and it's really user friendly. Also, there's Weebly. This is more of a budget option. It's $6 a month, and it's going to be a lot more simple than sites like Wix and like WordPress and stuff like that, but it'll also be probably not as, I guess, good professionally wise. Last one is WordPress. I would recommend this one for anyone who like has some coding and website design knowledge. It's free off the bat, but then you have to pay to host your site. So that's something to consider. And then I'm just going to go over picking a domain name and the title. So first off, you got to pick a appropriate domain name for your website. So most businesses usually just use their business's name, and then it's the www.blank.com. And then next, the title is basically what shows up when you search something. It's like the name that shows up for your company. And when using the title, you want to make something that's unique and creative. And you want to use keywords in the title as well, but don't use too many because then it does not actually help your search engine optimization or your SEO. And then limit the amount of characters you use. You don't want to make it a big long list that's hard to read. So here's kind of an example of what domain name is. So as you can see, it says right there where the domain name is. And then the headline for like wismaple.org would be Pure Maple Syrup, and then Wisconsin Maple Syrup Producers Association. That's basically the headline. Uses the keyword Pure Maple Syrup, and then also has like the business's name on it. Nice, short, simple. So then I'm going to kind of go over some overall website tips. Make sure to have a logo on all the pages of your website. Basically, the websites have like a header to them, so you want to have the logo in the header. Also have a goal for your website. So all websites kind of want to have a goal to them or what you want to get out of your website. So for example, you can have your website to gain revenue. You can have it to educate people. You can have it for people to subscribe to your website or even donate to your website. So before you start making your website, you kind of want to have an idea of what your goal is. And then next, you want to make your website easy to navigate. So navigation is probably one of the biggest things with websites, just because if someone can't navigate through your website, it's going to be a lot harder to use, and it's going to make people not want to go back to your website. So one of the things you can do is use a navigation bar in like the header of your website, so you can basically, people can navigate through your website much easier. And then using links also helps with navigation, so then people can kind of flow through your website easier. And then lastly, make sure that all the links on your website work. So you don't want links that don't work, because that will hurt your website's SEO. And like I said, it makes the website less user-friendly, and people aren't going to go back to your website after that because it's just hard to use. And then lastly, include images and videos in your website. It's more visually appealing when you do have images and videos. It makes it a lot more interesting to look at your website. All right, next I'm going to go into image selection. So pictures and videos are probably one of the best ways to differentiate your website and make it more visually appealing to users. So you want to use like quality images on your website. You don't want them being blurry, and you kind of want to use images that are appropriate for your website. So you don't want to use something that doesn't make sense on your website, obviously. And one thing you can do to kind of help with the quality of your images is trying to edit and crop your like pictures and videos. So most website design sites actually do have the ability to edit and like crop and do whatever you want to your images. Otherwise, you can just use like Adobe or something. There's a few different options you can look up for photo editing. And then lastly, use a variety of pictures and even use videos. So like I said, the more pictures and videos you have, the more visually appealing it's going to be. It's going to make a lot more people come to your website because it's interesting to look at. So next, I'm going to go into keyword use. So keywords have a major impact on SEO. Basically, Google and other search engines have an algorithm that they use where they basically use the keywords that you use to determine where you're going to be on Google. And so with keywords, make sure you use both body and long tail keywords. Body keywords are like 2 to 3 words. Long tail are going to be 4 or more words. Long tail keywords are more specific and less competitive, so it helps gain more like relevant website traffic, because you don't have all these big time companies who are using these specific keywords because they just use the generic ones. So like, for example, generic one could be like maple syrup, while a more long tail one would be like maple syrup in Green Bay or maple syrup in Wisconsin. So it's just a little more generic. So it allows for when people search like those keywords, you will be like higher up on Google. And then lastly, using too many keywords can actually have a negative effect on SEO. So make sure you use a good mixture of both keywords and just like normal text in it. Because if you use too many keywords, then that can actually negatively affect your SEO and make it worse off for your website. And then let's see here. Next, with links in the website, make sure, like I said earlier, make sure all your links work. Broken links can hurt your SEO and have a negative effect on the website and how user-friendly your website is. Also, link your logo to your homepage. So you want your logo linked to your homepage basically because it's common practice. Almost all companies do it. It's just an easy way for people to get back to your homepage. You just click the logo and you're right back. And then lastly, don't overuse links, and make sure users like can tell what is linked, because sometimes when something's linked, it's kind of hard to view. And then, so one more thing I'm going to talk about is analytics. So basically, analytics help see how well your website's doing. You can see kind of what's working, what's not working with your website, and it shows like a variety of metrics. So like, for example, it shows the traffic through your website. So how many people are visiting your website, how many people are buying stuff on your website, how much time is spent on a website, and kind of a lot more. There's a lot more of them. It's just those are kind of the main ones. Lastly, you can use analytics to see what can be improved on your website. So say people aren't spending so much time on like a certain page, you can maybe add something to that page, like a button or a picture or something, to kind of add more intrigue to it and make people stay on that page longer. So it kind of lets you like be more exact with what you're doing, or be more exact with like what you need to improve in your website. And then lastly, most website design websites have analytics included in them. So like Wix, I know they have Google Analytics, or not Google Analytics, just analytics in it. So you can kind of see what how well your website's doing. And then also a good option is Google Analytics. It's a good free and easy option if your host website doesn't have analytics, and it's really good for kind of like seeing how well your website's doing, basically how well it's performing. And then kind of here's just an example of like Google Analytics. So it basically, as you can see, it shows like how many people were on your website in like the last week. You can look at the last month, the last year. You can literally look at anything pertaining to your website and kind of what people are doing on your website, which can help immensely with making your website better. Questions? Got a lot of them.
Okay, if you were to start one platform, how hard is it to transfer the content of a different platform if you upgrade later?
I would say it's pretty hard to. I'm just looking. Where's that? I'd say, yeah, it's pretty hard to transfer to a different platform. Most platforms aren't compatible with others. So say like you have a website on Wix, it's not going to be really compatible if you switch to like Weebly or something. You'll probably actually have to totally redesign it because all these website design companies aren't compatible with each other. So yeah.
What is the estimated cost to hire a website designer?
Really depends on if you're hiring like a company or I guess like a family friend. It really depends on who you're hiring. I'd say like most companies, it was probably $500 to $1,000, I'm guessing, if not more, depending on how big your website is and how much you got to do for it. I almost think it's simpler to do something like Wix. It's really simple to do, and it really does not take much website design knowledge to do it. As long as you know kind of basic computer functions, it's pretty easy to do.
Where do you find the analytics portion of the website?
So for like, if you do it into Google Analytics, you actually copy it and paste your like domain name or your URL into like Google Analytics, and then they'll actually track what's going on in your website. Otherwise, like Wix and all that stuff, they just naturally track it. You just click on like, they have an analytics tab on their homepage, and you can literally see everything that's going on in your website.
How do you set up a credit card, not PayPal, on a website?
For like, basically, I know like Wix for sure, and like other website design companies have options where you can add like an online store, and then basically with that online store, it has like different payment options you can do. So I know like Wix for sure, you can just say like credit card payment option, and they'll just basically be able to put a credit card in like any normal website.
Does Wix add shipping costs?
There's different like options for shipping that you can choose. Basically, it has like, you can do it by weight, you can do it by just like the like the United States Postal Service rate. So there's a few different options you can do. You can do it manually, It really depends, but yeah, there's a bunch of different options you can do from Wix for like shipping and stuff. Sure. All right, and then I'll just show you a website that I designed. It's actually our family business's website. 1 second. So, all right. So I actually designed this website. As you can see, it's kind of interesting how we put a video in the background, adds a little bit different of I guess, image to it, a little bit different than your usual website, kind of adds a little bit more visual friendliness to it. And then as you can see, it has the 2 logos, since it's for 2 businesses, it has the 2 logos on top. Also has like social media links that are linked directly to our social media accounts. And then on the top here, it has like your navigation bar. So basically you can click on something, goes to your about page. And then if you want to go back to the home page, just click on the logo, goes right back. And then like some other things, like you can go to shop and all of the products are right there listed. It's not even showing. Oh yeah, all the products are just listed there. You can see them all. They have like filters you can do, so you can go to like, so say I want to go to like pure maple syrup products, click on it, it kind of filters them out. Say you want to go to specialty products, filters them out like that. So there's a bunch of different things you can do in that aspect. Also, I'd recommend having like a contact page on the end. As you can see, ours has our location, phone number. Also, there's like a form that people can fill out, which will go directly to our email. So that's something we can do. Also, we have like an events page. So let's see here. So like we do tours through our operation, so people can actually sign up for a tour on this, and it'll go directly into our Wix account, and we'll get like messages about it. So that's something that's kind of nice. And then there's also like links and stuff in here, like this link to Facebook. Click on it, goes right to our Facebook page if it loads. There you go. You can go right back to the website then. And yeah, that's kind of what we got.
We have one more question that just came in. It says, is there an easy way to eliminate the white background off from your logo?
I know like Wix and stuff, like I said, they have photo like editing software on the actual site. So you can like basically crop out the background. Otherwise you can use Adobe and stuff too. I mean, there's a few different options you can use. Adobe Photoshop is probably the best method to use, but if you're not trying to pay for a subscription for like Adobe, I know like Wix for sure you can remove background and other things like that. Any other questions? No, not really.
Thank you, Justin. I'm going to have you stand next to me just because you have the microphone on, so everyone can hear me. We've got a little bit of time to waste. We're going to take a little break. First, a couple of little announcements. Again, want to thank everyone, all of our vendors, our associate vendors. We'll be running every once in a while as we have time. We'll run through who those 7 associate members are. And most of them will be giving presentations at some point today or tomorrow as well. I'd like to thank Teresa for her hard work, and for all of our speakers that have been willing to come in, put something together, or Zoom in on live with us, or even be present like Justin is here. Again, thanks for the help with Tri-Media Design and Zelke Sports. And also a couple of things. Most of you maybe have already figured this out that are on the call, but if you put your cursor over the lower bar of your screen, you'll see there's a mute button, and there's your audio, your video you can turn on and off. There's also the chat down there. If you haven't all found that, if you just click on the chat button, it'll open up another screen for you to be able to write your questions in. So please do that. most of the time you'll find your button is muted, and we're gonna force it muted so that you don't interrupt the conversations that are going on here, but there may be times where you'll want to unmute it later. And if you happen to be calling in on a phone, *6 will mute and unmute you. We'd prefer you stay muted as much as possible. That's one function we can't force your phone to be quiet, but I don't think there's anybody coming on by the phone right now, but just something to know. Again, maybe mention we had 15 blue ribbons and that the Hansons had the only perfect score of the night in our maple contest.